in the books. It was hot today.
It wasn't that bad.
It was pretty bad. I hope the fellow we saw walking out of practice is okay.
Yeah,
little tumble. He'll get you, man. Just gotta stay hydrated. As I say here, drink a coffee, which is like the one thing they tell you not to do.
That's diuretic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. They have. There's water out there for us. We both partake. Yeah. Drink a lot of water.
Try to drink. Stay hydrated.
I just keep telling myself I covered 2 days, 3-hour practices. It was 100 degrees, and then walked.
You walked uphill both ways.
Well, if it was at Lehigh, you did walk uphill. But, I didn't think it was that bad. But yeah.
It felt like a summer training camp. I was wondering if they'd move it up.
Yeah, no pads, probably why they didn't.
Yeah, if it was padded, you're probably right. They would have.
Yeah. Next week is cool. So have some cool days out there. They might go a little longer. Today's practice was 8 minutes.
I don't think they really factor in. I think they have a script they stick to.
Probably.
Yeah. A little longer today. First practice was about an hour. Today was about an hour 15. So we have a bunch of practice observations. We heard from Darius Slay for the first time since I don't want to say rejoining. He never left, but he kind of almost left since technically rejoining the team. We heard Derek Barnett has a new contract for this year, so we want to mention that a little bit later. Jalen Carter talked to us for the first time in training camp, and we spoke to Sean Desai for the first time in training camp, and only the second time since he's been the defensive coordinator. So a bunch of stuff. But
I like Sean Desai. Somebody asked a question that had been asked almost word for word in OTAs, and he's like, "Where were you in OTAs? Were you off that day?" I answered that 3 months ago. I like that.
Yeah, I like that too. Showing a little personality. Yeah. He has a ton of personality.
He does.
I don't know if we'll see it as much in front of that microphone.
Yeah,
but he has some for sure.
Yeah, interesting guy.
Mm-hmm. But observations, that's where we got to start. We'll do some housekeeping stuff as always to start this one off. Devin Allen's still on the NFI list. He's probably going to be there for a little bit. Did see him working.
It's a big hurdle for him.
Did see him working with the trainer on the side a little bit. So starting to do some stuff.
Yeah. Could be a couple weeks.
Yeah. And which for him
really
is a big deal. Exactly. No Hassan Reddick yet. Expect him to miss at least one more practice. He has some groin soreness. Avonte Maddox and Derek Barnett still both limited. Saw a few guys with like little wobbly getting up during practice today. We'll monitor them. Boston Scott was the one who really looked like he was kind of limping a little bit, but didn't leave practice, stayed out there. So he's probably okay.
And then was hanging out after practice talking about, bringing back security man characters.
So if he's thinking about,
I think he's okay.
Unless he's so hurt that he's like, I got to figure out my next job.
No, I don't think that's the case. I think he's all right.
All right. Yeah. To be clear, I was joking there. I don't need people tweeting me later, Xing me later.
Threading
me. Don't thread me about that. You know what the annoying thing about, like, I've kind of like, if Twitter implodes on itself, like whatever, we use it for work and it is what it is, but there's no verb for X. Right. Xing?
I don't know.
That seems weird.
I just keep saying tweeting.
Yeah. There needs to be a verb.
It could still be tweeting, even though it's X. Like tweeting is the act of sending out a social. So if you're on Threads, if you're on whatever you're on, like maybe tweeting has become a generic.
Yeah. Like term. Posting on X feels like, feels weird.
Well, the only thing about Threads is, and I'm trying to post everything on Threads as well, there's no desktop version.
I know. So you know what I've been doing? I've been like sending myself messages on Slack, word for word, copying and pasting.
Yeah.
Like, this is just extra work.
I've just been emailing the headline and the link to and then opening the email on my phone, cut and pasting.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Tough life we live.
Trying to
figure out stuff. All right. Depth chart notes. We'll start with the offensive side of things. Cam Jurgens still
interesting stuff here.
Yeah. Cam Jurgens still at right guard. Curious to see where that goes. I remember a few years ago when they had the Andre Dillard, Jordan Mailata competition. That was like a real competition. That was every day back and forth. It was like a Mailata day, then a Dillard day, then eventually Dillard got hurt.
I don't think we have that.
Well, we obviously don't have it. It's 2 days in, and we've seen.
I mean, he could go 2 days, but
yeah. I mean, do you think there's a chance where like we get a week in, and then all right, this is a Steen day?
I think it's going to be when Kelsey takes the day off, and if you take a day off now, you're off 3 days in a row.
Yeah, which I don't know how many days off they're going to be.
Right. So I mean, at some point, like they have back-to-back days next week, I think Thursday and Friday. So Kelsey will probably take one of those days off, and we'll see Juergens at center and Steen at right guard. But I don't think we're going to see him with the ones and Juergens with the twos. I just think Juergens right now is the right guard.
Yeah.
I think.
What do you make of that in general? Because I'm like, I get why Cam has been here, and if he can play guard, he can play guard, and you want to get your 5 best out there. But at a certain point, like he's going to need some center reps to be ready to play there.
Right.
When you have a 35-year-old center.
I think they just the same philosophy with all the rookies, whether it's Ringo or Sidney Brown, or they're just bringing them along slowly.
Yeah. I'm curious to see where that goes with the guard position, because eventually if you get to a situation where, knock on wood, you do need Juergens at center, and he's like, then you're switching 2 positions, and we know Stout generally doesn't like to do that.
And the other thing is they could be doing some of that at the walkthroughs that we're not privy to.
Mm-hmm.
They could be, that might be their time that they're mixing and matching.
Yeah. Dennis Kelly bumped up to second team left tackle today. It didn't take very long. He's only been here a week, but that's going to be his job. I think he's going to make the team. He's going to be their backup left tackle, perhaps their backup swing tackle, if he's just a better option than Jack Driscoll.
Yeah, which he might be.
He might be, unless they, last year they tried out having backups on both sides of the line, and they seemed to like it.
Yeah.
So maybe they just do that again.
But if Kelly's better, he'll back up both.
Yeah.
I mean, Dennis Kelly's not a young kid. I mean, he's going into year 12, I think. Was he 34, 33?
33. Yeah.
He's bounced around a little bit since leaving the Tennessee, but if he's played a lot of football. I think he might back up both spots. Okay. If he has a good camp, plays well in the preseason games, I think he might back up both spots.
Okay. Running backs still rotating a ton, which Nick said they would. I was kind of curious to see like how true he was. No, they're rotating. Everyone's playing up there except for Kennedy.
Yeah, poor Kennedy. He's with the sixes.
All right. Defensive depth chart notes here in front of me. At safety today, this was interesting.
Yeah, sure was.
Yeah, I didn't expect this. We saw to start practice Reed Blankenship, who was with the ones the other day, and Kayvon Wallace out there. Now, eventually, Terrell Edmonds did rotate in with the first team next to Blankenship. But to start off with Kayvon out there, it at least gives us an inkling that he might be ahead of Justin Evans.
Yeah, and I think I would have guessed if we saw somebody with the ones other than Terrell Edmonds, it would have been Sidney Brown. But he's just not doing it that way.
He's still with the threes.
Yeah, he's still with the threes. Kayvon didn't play bad last year. He did not play bad. He got some opportunities in high leverage situations and made the most of his opportunities. And he's a smart guy. Bradbury talked about him a little bit today and just how smart he is. Been around a long time, obviously a new coordinator, but it was interesting to see him out there. He's around the ball. He's a guy who's really active and
physical. Had a big hit in practice today on Kenny Gainwell.
Yeah.
Gainwell's not the biggest guy, so you hit him, he does fly a little bit.
And you're not really supposed to do that, but
But he shouldered him a little.
Yeah, he did.
Nothing wrong with that.
But yeah, it was good seeing Kayvon out there, and it kind of that was eye-opening to me. I did not anticipate that.
Yeah, me neither. I really thought it was going to be at least a week of Blankenship and Edmonds.
Yeah. Yeah, that tells you that it's up for grabs because you need to get whoever's playing, you need to get them ready. And if it's Terrell Edmonds, who's new here, you got to get him ready. So for him to have one practice and then.
I love that T.O. ruined us all. Whenever I see the name Terrell, I always have to pause. You said Terrell.
Okay.
Because he was so annoying with it's Terrell Owens, not Terrell Owens.
Yeah. It's Terrell Edmonds.
Terrell is the normal name.
Yeah.
But Terrell, like in my head, whenever it's like I'm reading and I see that name coming up and I panic a little bit.
The good thing is that T.O. has not blocked me on Threads yet.
Give it a few days.
Give a few hours.
Nickel corner. Still no Avonte Maddox, limited, so not out there in team drills. Today it was Josiah Scott with the first team. Eventually McPherson rotated in, but that was flipped from the other day. So right. Scott's still in the mix.
Yeah. And McPherson's still in the mix.
Yeah. Didn't list it on my written observations, but saw Mario Goodrich taking third team reps as the nickel. So someone's got to do it. Might as well be him.
Yeah.
Had a pick in the developmental period.
Yes, he did.
Yeah. So I don't know if we've ever really mentioned that. After the normal practice, there's a developmental period with all the young guys. Some 2s, mostly 3s, and it's like another 5 to 7 minute practice. Because sometimes the 3s get cycled over in the course of a practice. Like they'll go through the 1s, they'll go through the 2s, and then the third teams get out there and they get like 3 plays. And they're like, oh, period's over, go back to the 1s. So it's a chance to make sure those guys get the work in.
Yeah, it's actually a really good idea, and it's kind of fun to watch because I think it's good for those guys to probably helps their confidence. You make a play in there that you might not have a chance to make.
Exactly.
In practice.
Yeah. Nakobe Dean, Nicholas Morrow were the linebackers with the first team. Was curious, similar to safety, if we'd see the same or different. It was the same at linebacker. I was wondering if Christian Ellis would get a first crack at it. He did not.
Yeah. Also did not have an interception.
Yeah,
his
first
streak
time
is over.
You're right. 3 in a row. That's right. And mighty streak comes to an end.
Yeah, he was pretty down about it after.
Defensive line, the 4-man, no Hassan Reddick, so the 4-man front: Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox, Jordan Davis, Josh Sweat. Jordan Davis taking 4-man front reps is notable.
Yeah,
didn't really do that as a rookie. He was always the nose in the 5 in the bear front. So seeing him out there. And a different look is important. It was funny last year before he got hurt. The first time we had seen it was in that Pittsburgh game, and he got hurt in the same game. But that's important for him. And then Milton Williams was the 5th guy in, and they shuffled around.
They seem really happy with where Jordan is.
They do. Everyone's kind of talking about his fitness level. He does look slimmer.
He looks good.
He looks in shape. Jalen Carter was asked about him, and he said like he's better now than when I played with him. He looks better.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of it's early, and it's like there's going to be some hype guys, and Jordan Davis right now is one of the hype guys.
Yeah, there's no question, and you can't wait to see him with the pads on. That's going to be the first real test.
Yeah, sure. For a lot of these guys too, especially on the defensive side of the ball. All right, move on a little bit.
Yeah.
Josh Jobe, second team cornerback. He's been an outside corner with Greedy Williams. He's a guy who kind of gets forgotten in the mix, but he had such an impressive summer last year that he made the team as an undrafted free agent. He got the third least guaranteed money of the 3 cornerbacks they brought in last offseason. Then he ended up winning a roster spot against guys who had been here. Like they had, they had just a bunch of players.
I was going to see if you could remember them.
I probably can. Well, the 2 rookies were Josh Blackwell and Mario Goodrich. Josiah Scott was obviously. And
Josh Blackwell was the one who came in with the most hype.
Well, I don't know the most hype, the most money, I think. Him and Mario I think Goodrich had more, actually.
Okay.
But then they had the guy they traded, Tay Gowan was in the mix. Kerry Vincent Jr. I'm missing one.
That's about it. No, I think that's it.
Yeah, those were the main guys, kind of all fighting for the job. It's not all that dissimilar to the situation they're in this year, but I think the level is probably raised even more this year because you have a 4th round pick in Keely Ringo, who's still with the third team. The second team corners have been in my head. I'm looking at my notebook. Greedy Williams and Josh Jobe. And Jobe had good and bad in this practice. He got burnt on a deep ball from Mariota
to
Greg Ward.
Don't want to get burned by Greg Ward on a deep ball.
You don't. He did get burnt. It happens. It was probably a 40-yard plus pass.
Yeah.
But then a few plays later in the next period, the 2s are going against the 1s. So he's out there against Jalen Hurts and company. Hurts underthrows a ball deep to Devontae, and it was a nice athletic play from Jobe to break it up. Had a shot at interception, but Devontae played some good defense.
And you can see why they like Jobe. And he played at a high level in college, and that he makes plays, but the downside is got burned by Greg Ward. So, but he's definitely got some ability.
He does, and I in my last 53, I had him on the roster. We'll see. I mean, he could be fighting for one of those last jobs. Him, Greedy Williams, could be fighting for a job. They're both second team corners right now.
I'm already down 1 on my 53.
Yeah, you had Dalton Keene.
Yeah.
Didn't even make it to training camp.
I meant Dan Arnold.
All right. Moving on a little bit, AJ Brown, first play of the day. If you forgot that AJ Brown is good at football, it was a perfect pass from Jalen. Put it right in the breadbasket. Late hands from AJ Brown. We've seen him do that a million times in training camp. Had Josiah Scott on him, so obviously a size difference. I thought Scott had pretty good position on him, but just it's impossible to defend that.
Yeah, and
maybe like a slot fade. I didn't see where he lined up on it.
Yeah, it's. I was reading your observations. Like Boston Scott was covering him. What happens? You have two Scotts on the team.
Oh, I should have. I should have put second. I forgot about Boston, so
it's all right. I think everyone knows Boston wasn't playing corner.
Yeah,
but you're right. Like sometimes you forget how good someone like AJ Brown. Like he's good. He's great. He's top 5 easily wide receiver in the league. But until you see him up close and personal, make a play like that, then it's like it kind of brings it all back in real time.
Yeah, and last year was like it was his first time here for training camp, so all eyes were on him all the time, and we just got used to him being great.
Right.
But it's the little things he does I didn't realize before he got here. I knew he was a good player. I knew he was a monster after the catch. I knew he could run a slant. But seeing the nuanced way he plays the position, he's way more advanced technically than I knew he was before he got here.
Interesting. Yeah.
Because like Devontae gets all the credit for being this like precision route runner and savvy and all that body control. But AJ, some of the things he does are really next level.
And he looks like, we were talking about this on the sideline. He looks like a linebacker.
Yeah, and I think sometimes his physique kind of blinds you to his skill.
Yeah, or even his speed.
Sure.
Like he doesn't look like he looks like an outside linebacker.
By the way, did you see that clip of Matt Collins from I guess he's with the Falcons now? There was like a clip kind of going viral of him on a little comeback route. He looks like a linebacker. He looks huge.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, he looks like I got to find that for you. He looks enormous.
He just did the Tour de France, so he must be pretty fit.
I thought Jalen Hurts had like an efficient.
He had a really good day.
Working day.
Just so expected. Like, was just,
yeah.
I thought he threw the ball really well today.
Yeah, it was just an efficient. Didn't air it out a ton. He had that deep ball early to AJ. The one ball to Devontae was underthrown, but other than that, it was just precision. Just what you'd expect.
He sailed the one on. Was it to Zacchaeus or to Swift?
To Swift.
To Swift. He sailed the one to Swift.
Yeah. But it still got there.
Yeah.
We haven't seen him air it out a ton yet early in camp. Yesterday on Wednesday, didn't really have the opportunity because it was all red zone. He's fun. I always enjoy watching his deep ball because it's pretty.
It is.
It's a teardrop. Mariota's is not pretty.
No.
It gets there.
Mariota's he's got a weird release. You talked about it a little bit. Weird delivery.
It's like a shot put. It looks like he's pushing the ball.
Oh, now you're talking my language. It's weird. Yeah, he's got. I guess at this point in his career, nobody's gonna try to fix that, but he's won some games doing it. But it's funky, and I think you wrote in your obs when he misses really badly. Like he's prone to some really ugly passes.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about him a little bit because he had one. Zacchaeus was good today. He didn't really have a catch in day one, but him and Mariota should be good together. They played together last year in Atlanta, so they have rapport, and now they're both on the second team. So I think that's going to become a pretty everyday connection between those two, and that's good for Zacchaeus because he's trying to prove himself.
Right.
And having a quarterback who can already trust him is helpful. We saw some speed from Zacchaeus. He got the ball in his hands, and he put on the Jets.
That one down the left sideline, I think I was standing next to you, and I said, man, he's fast. He is quick. And I think maybe there's a tendency to look at him as more of the, I don't know, Quez is the fast guy and Zacchaeus is the possession guy or something, but no.
Yeah, he's quick. I don't know if he doesn't have like long speed like Quez, but like short area quickness.
Yeah. Probably
has more.
Yeah. Functional speed.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a good day.
I thought so. The bad pass to Mariota we were talking about was a target for Zacchaeus. I don't know. Maybe Mariota thought someone was crossing face and was going to pick him off, but he wormed it. He took out a colony of worms. Colony? Worms live in colonies?
I guess I don't really never ask them.
You mentioned DeAndre Swift. Early theme of these first two practices, him catching the ball. I tried to pump the brakes on day one.
Yeah.
After 2 days, you're going, okay, this is becoming a theme. That's where he thrives. And the ball you mentioned from Jalen Hurts, it got away from Jalen a little bit. It's a ball that, like, no knock on Miles last year. Miles doesn't catch that.
Flat out does not catch it.
Yeah. He soared it. It was an impressive leap from DeAndre Swift, and he brings it down, and then in rhythm keeps on going.
It was an impressive rep for him, and that's my first thought after that play or during that play was, and I like Miles, and Miles is a good player, but it was Miles does not make that catch.
Mm-hmm.
Miles wasn't adjusting. I mean, that wasn't his game. That wasn't his strength. That's fine. I'm so impressed with his comfort level in the passing game. And this is a guy who caught 156 balls the last 3 years, so he should be. But soft hands and doesn't fight the ball. He's got a very natural receiving motion. It comes easily to him. And he went up and got that one and he looks fast.
Mm-hmm.
He looks fast with the ball in his hands.
He should. Pads on.
Yeah, that's fair. But it's been a good couple of days for him. I'm really eager to see what he can do once the pads go on. And he's a good runner. I mean, he averaged 4.6.
Mm-hmm.
So he's a good runner too, but it's pretty clear that they really like him as a receiver.
Yeah.
And it's a part of the offense that really hasn't been explored the last few years. Really hasn't.
Gainwell's look good too. I think both of those two running backs have gotten off to good starts.
Haven't seen them throw to Gainwell. Maybe one 2 days ago.
But he looks so quick through the line of scrimmage.
He does.
Like running between the tackles, bouncing outside. He has a burst that, like, I don't remember that level of burst from him last summer.
I thought he had a pretty good camp last summer.
Mm-hmm.
But
overall, watched him kind of bust through the line. It looks like there's another gear to this for
no
him.
pads.
No pads,
Let's see. But yeah.
But no, the other guys don't have pads on either, and he's standing out.
You're right. Yeah, he looks good. I mean, I'd say Penny hasn't really flashed yet.
I agree with that.
But all the other backs look good. But they're throwing to the backs a lot, and that's not his game either.
He caught one today.
Petty did.
Mm-hmm.
I missed that one.
Yeah, which we've talked about. Like, that's important. You can't just have him out there without the threat of him catching the ball, and you can't have like Swift out there without the threat of him running. Like, you have to at least put it on tape that these guys can do other things.
Petty's caught a few pads. I'm just looking up his receiving stats. Never caught more than 9 in a season. 27 in 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, his one big year when he had 749 yards and 6 touchdowns, he caught 6 balls. That's like LeGarrette Blount type of production. So you'd like to see him work on that.
Should I update some of the guys that I get asked about?
And I do think it's really encouraging that they're spending a lot of time on throwing to the backs.
I do too,
because that could just add another dimension of the offense, and it gives Jalen an answer without having to run to on 3rd and 4.
I still think, like, when a play breaks down, is he going to be looking for the backs, or is he going to take off? He's probably still going to take off. There was a nifty play from Mariota today. I don't know if you caught this one. Broken play. He's starting to run. He had like a little shovel pass to Trey Sermon.
I didn't see that one.
Yeah, it was nice. He has some wheels too, Mario. We got to see him open up a little bit today.
Yeah, I don't know what he was doing running over those coolers.
Yeah, it was dangerous.
Yeah, it was not smart.
So 3 guys I get asked about a ton.
Yeah.
Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Nolan Smith, 3 Bulldogs. So I have a note for each of them. Jalen Carter, 2 strong days to start.
Yeah.
We'll talk about a little bit what he said later, but took on a double team today. He just moves different. There's just something different about him, and like pure talent, it's there. Yeah. It's just there.
Yeah, and they're throwing a lot at these guys. He's a young guy, and he seems to be. I mean, look, it's obviously easier for an interior guy than for a corner or safety linebacker, but he seems to really be mentally on top of everything and in the right place, doing the right thing, and able to show his athleticism early on is big for him. He looks great. He might be really good.
Yeah. It could take some time.
Yeah, I don't want to get carried away, but he might be
like,
really good.
There was a line of questioning yesterday from Jimmy Kempsky about, and neither Howie or Nick bit on it, but
all.
It's a fair line of questioning. Like sometimes it takes defensive tackles a long time to like really be productive in the NFL. So like it's something where like maybe they could have taken an opportunity to pump the brakes on Jalen Carter a little bit because it is tough. Like some of these guys take years and years, like and it's maybe it's even more true for Jordan Davis than it is for Jalen Carter because of like the added skills that Jordan needs to acquire as a pass rusher, whereas like Jalen Carter is going to flash at times from day one just because he's so athletic. Whereas like Jordan Davis is really learning how to be a pass rusher in certain situations.
Yeah. But I also think with his fitness level being what it is right now, he's going to flash too. Yeah,
he had a really good bull rush on Landon Dickerson today.
Yeah, he did.
Landon's a big dude. Landon's probably 340.
That was eye-opening.
Yeah, it was eye-opening. And Landon held his own. It wasn't like Jordan was taking down the quarterback, but the push was there, and it's fun to watch him get that kind of push.
He moved a lot of earth on that one.
And then a few plays later, I watched him and Kelsey. And Kelsey just perfect technique, gets leverage, and shuts him down.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's 13 years of experience.
Yeah.
The last one was Nolan Smith. I haven't really mentioned him much, but he's making plays. He's getting off the rock. He's super quick around the edge. He better
like his first step.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you expect that.
Yeah.
Did see him dropping the coverage today, too. Looked smooth doing that.
Yeah.
He's going to have to do that at times, and he looks fine.
Yeah. But he's so athletic, it comes easy to him.
Haven't seen them use him in a ton of like. I'm wondering if they'll stack him at times, if they'll move him around. He's really only been on the left side when he gets his first team reps. So curious to see if eventually they'll move him around a little bit. I think they will, but I want to track his progress and like where they're playing him, what he's doing. Sirianni's a nutcase.
This just in.
He was really giving it to the guys today about ball security in a ball security drill. So I was joking today about Nick Sirianni with a few other beat writers and saying if he wasn't a football coach and he was just like working in a normal job, he'd be an absolute nightmare.
You'd hate him.
You would hate him.
Yeah.
Like, this guy doesn't turn off. And what's he doing?
Yeah. How can you stack those widgets like that? What are you, crazy? Don't restack. Take all those widgets down.
He'd be like the boss from hell. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
But in football, it works. He's got that bullhorn out.
Did you ever have a job stacking widgets?
I don't even know what that is.
I don't either.
I had some jobs like.
What's the worst job you ever had?
I gotta be careful here. I worked
this one
for a
working with me doing a podcast.
No. I worked for a. You'll see why I have to be careful. I worked for a cable provider, in a center where people like walk in and either like pay their bill or like change equipment, and I like had to sit behind the glass and just get yelled at, and you're like powerless, so you just like have to sit there and be like, I'm in college. I'm trying to make some money. How about you?
I was a produce clerk at Waldbaum's grocery store in White Plains, New York. And about 50% of my job was lugging 50-pound bags of onions and potatoes and stacking them.
What's produce clerk mean? You just like handle?
Well, back then there was no computers. They had not been invented yet.
Yeah.
So I basically had a scale. I had a scale at the end of the produce department, and people would bring, their yams, and I would put them in a bag and then weigh them, and then I'd have to know how much they cost per pound, and then I had a little, I guess, like a adding machine, and I had to figure out.
That's a job that like I've never seen.
Yeah. Probably not a lot of produce clerks anymore, like figuring out, because you had to weigh everything.
Do the math, yeah.
So like sometimes it'd be like, say there might be like 5 different types of tomatoes, organic tomatoes, cherry tomato, whatever. So there's like 5 different kinds of tomatoes, and like they're all different prices.
Let me ask you this: Buddy comes in, he wants the nice tomatoes. Do you ever put the price of the cheaper tomatoes on there?
Well, I couldn't tell any of the tomatoes apart, so I gave everyone the lowest tomato price. Every tomato.
So what you're saying is you weren't very good at this job.
I might not have been the most accurate produce clerk, but I didn't. Yeah. but like, I mean, the tomato, because like if it was something near me, like say the yams, there was three different, I could just look and see 39 cents a pound or something. But I learned how to, pack lettuce into little bags and everything and all that stuff. But yeah, my boss was a nutcase and kind of had a bullhorn as well.
All right.
But yeah, that was my worst job.
All right, let us continue here.
Yeah.
Did you catch it? You didn't catch it.
That was good.
All right. Situational.
My reaction was like an iceberg.
Situational football. They're always going to do it. Kind of cool at the end of like Nick will throw in like real game situations at them.
Yeah.
So the one that was really exciting was ones versus ones. He goes 2-point conversion to win the game. They line up. Devontae Smith comes in motion. Patrick Johnson jumps off sides. Jordan Mailata taps him. Ooga booga booga, as Jeff Stanley would say, gets the call. And then they run the next play.
It drove you crazy.
It drove me crazy.
He was on the side like, run the play.
Run the next
Take the penalty. Run the play. It's like, what are you guys doing? It's like drove him crazy.
It drove me nuts.
Which I love.
Yeah, but they didn't run the next play. It was just over.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah. My stupid observation today was a hot day. Swoop, the mascot, what a professional.
He is.
Out there in the heat. It can't be fun for Swoop.
No, he was grinding.
He was grinding, waving the fans. I was standing next to Ashlyn Sullivan, our coworker, and she asked him, like, how you doing? We're worried about you. And he mimed that, like, no, I'm cool. I'm fine. I'm doing good. What a professional. Brings his A game.
And as you were running that anecdote down.
Oh, yeah, I was sweating a lot.
Yeah, it was steamy, but it was also an hour and 15.
Yeah, wasn't too bad. All right, we have some other stuff after the break. Catch all the sports action and more at Rivers Casino Philadelphia. Whether it's the money line or the pass line, there's something for everyone in a great sports book. Rivers Casino Philadelphia. Philly loves a winner. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. We had a chance to talk to Slay for the first time since a lot has happened in his offseason. One of those things, Matt Patricia gets hired to the staff. Slay has not been timid about his feelings on Matt Patricia from their time together in Detroit. Basically said he didn't respect the dude a few years ago, and now they're on the same team. I thought Slay was very mature about, at least the way he answered some questions today.
Yeah, and it started when Matt Patricia supposedly told Slay he wasn't an elite corner. He had been working out with a bunch of all-pro cornerbacks, and Patricia said, "You're not in the same class as those guys." And I also think he got like mad that he was working out with other corners, which is something that like has become pretty commonplace in the league. Yeah, the guys working out with other guys. And there was other stuff that came out later, but I mean, I remember I think it was last year. Somebody asked Slay about playing in Detroit and like how much he must have hated it. He said, "Oh, I didn't hate Detroit, just one guy." And like he hasn't been quiet about it. He did not pull any punches talking about Matt Patricia. So when Nick hired him in April, I mean, it was definitely eye-opening. And the thing about Slay, like he comes across like a clown, but he's a professional. Yeah, he really is, and he wants to win, and he works hard, and he comes across a certain way. That's his personality, but. He was asked about, reconciling with Matt Patricia and what it's been like. And he said, we talked about it during the off season. They called and said, I want what's best for the organization. And this is a great quote. He said, I always tell guys, we're in a rented seat. Nobody's in this seat forever. And I want what's best for the organization. They asked if I'd be cool with it. And I said, yeah. He said, me and him talked man to man. We've got a great understanding. We both want to win. He's here to help me get better. He wants to get better as a coach, and we're in good hands right now. He said, it took a lot for us to talk. So we did a great job. We communicate every day. We talk every day. We're just trying to build everything going forward because at the end of the day, we both want to win. That's his goal, and that's my goal. We're going to continue building. We talked it out as grown men. So, he comes across like a clown, but he handled it really well. It would have been easy to just hold a grudge. Sure. And I mean, and there was a moment where like he might not have been back here. So. Right. So we haven't had a chance to talk to Matt Patricia. I'm not sure we ever will. I think we will. Maybe. Hope so.
Well, that's the thing. It's like we've heard Nick Sirianni the other day brought up Matt Patricia on his own, saying how beneficial it is to have a former head coach, maybe one who didn't have a ton of success, but that can be beneficial too. Like a guy who's done maybe the wrong way, and he can guide you how to do something the correct way. Sean Desai was asked about Patricia, but like if he's here and he helps the coaching staff, that's a reason enough to keep him. So it's like, yeah, Slay, we're going to need you to be a grown up and get over it, even though you feel like this guy belittled you or didn't respect you. Like you got to get over it, and it looks like he has.
Yeah, and look, it takes a lot to do that. It's not easy to. I mean, we've all had people we don't like or we don't get along with, we don't work well together with.
You have to do podcasts with,
and it's not easy to sit down and talk with someone in that situation. And I give them credit because they're a better team when the coaches and players are all on the same page. And I mean, he's a defensive assistant, so he's going to be working with him at times. They're going to overlap, and it's good for the team. And it really speaks highly of Nick and the culture he's built that Slay was willing to do this.
Yeah. I'm curious to hear from Matt Patricia. I hope we do. I want to know, like, a few years in the review what he makes of that whole situation. Because, look, he was a young head coach, and head coaches make mistakes too. Like, I'm curious to see what he, in retrospect, like what he thinks about the way he handled that situation.
He did apologize, apparently, and said he didn't remember saying that and apologized to Slay. But look, he had success in New England. He obviously not as a head coach, and not the second time in New England in the last couple of years, but he won 3 rings there, lost in 17. Might remember that one. I think he's a versatile guy who's had experience with a lot of different positions, and I think he's a pretty good football mind. So
yeah, he became like the butt of jokes in New England, and he deserved a lot of that. He was not very good, like a lot of the Belichick assistants who move on. But if you were to say like 2018, they hired Matt Patricia, everyone would be going, "Yeah, great, that's awesome."
Yeah.
So we'll see.
But it's also something to keep an eye on, moving forward.
Sure.
If things aren't going well.
Derek Barnett wrote about him on a Friday morning, but we found out via ESPN's Field Yates a restructured contract for Barnett, really a pay cut. I guess a pay cut. It's more guaranteed money, but he's going to make less money than he would have on his old deal.
If he made the team.
Which like I think it's more likely now that he makes the team.
Sure.
Because the salary is a little more palatable.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's a slam dunk to make the team, but I think he's a lot closer now.
Yeah, I feel that way. I thought when I saw the numbers, I thought,
like if you're restructuring him at all, it means you want to keep him.
Yeah.
Because if not, why would you do it?
Right. I think he's going to make the team.
I do, and I think he's going to be their. Maybe he'll start off the season as their 4th pass rusher, but he's probably going to be their 5th pass rusher all year. And if they stay healthy, he probably won't have a big role, but you never know. And they're probably right that they're a better team with him than without him.
And as disappointing as his career has been, you get a guy who has averaged 5 or 6 sacks through his career, who was a first-round pick. Yeah. You take it.
Yeah, and it's funny because like obviously like no one's saying he isn't a massive disappointment as a first-round pick. That's unavoidable. He did not live up to that. But you're not like paying him like a first-round pick anymore. You're not expecting him to have the role that you once did as a first-round pick. So as like a rotational guy, obviously the penalties have become a big deal with him, and fans are understandably upset every time he gets a penalty. And that is a problem. I don't want to make it seem like that's not a problem, but I think there's always been a really big gap between the way the Eagles view Barnett and the way fans view him. I think the reality of Derek Barnett is probably somewhere in between there. I think the Eagles have probably been too high on him because they like him, because he is tough. He plays through injury and he's like gritty, but he hasn't been very good either.
And he was a 14th pick.
Yeah, that factors into their evaluation, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But he does some of the things that made him like he still bends around the edge really well, which is a rare trait to have. To bend around the edge and keep your velocity is tough. He does that. He's had a really tough time finishing at the quarterback in his career.
Yeah.
You look at the quarterback hit numbers and you go, oh, he's been productive. And he looked at the sacks like, what's happened here?
Yeah, like Mike Mamula. I mean, that was the knock on him, another first-round pick.
I mean, Brandon Graham for a long time.
And I think Brandon Graham, what he has done in the arc of his career could really be something that Derek Barnett looks at. I mean, Brandon Graham he wasn't even a full-time starter for 5 years. Yeah. And Barnett's still a young guy. He just turned 27.
27.
I think we looked that up.
He was a young 21 when they drafted him.
He was very young. The whole Tennessee Reggie White thing didn't help him.
Yeah.
Broke Reggie White's sack record in Tennessee. Oh, maybe he'll break his Eagles record. Well, he's 114 and a half short right now, but or something like that. But hey, where are you going to find a better fifth pass rusher? You won't.
Yeah. That's it. Jalen Carter, talked to him for the first time in training camp.
Yeah.
He was asked about his goals, and he did not hold back. He said, I want to be the defensive rookie of the year.
I like that.
I like that too.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing
wrong with a kid being confident, really. He came into camp in shape, which was a question mark, right or wrong. Like, it was out there about, we go back to his pro day, which might have been slanted against him a little bit, given all that had gone on in his life that he put himself into a little bit. But to see him first come back in the shape and to see him flash 2 days in the camp is a really good sign.
Yeah, because I mean, those questions that you just mentioned are why he dropped to number 9.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a little risky for the Eagles to take him there.
Yeah,
a little bit,
maybe,
but
there's risk involved. Sure,
they might have stolen him.
Mm-hmm.
Well, look, it's only 2 practices, but he looks great, and I think there's going to be 8 teams that are thinking, maybe we shouldn't have put so much stock into that.
We'll see. If one of those teams landed their quarterback, I think they'll be okay with it.
Yeah, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You don't want to get carried away. We keep saying that. Pads haven't gone on yet, but he looks great. And I like that confidence. I like hearing that. I remember Trey Thomas, his first training camp in '98, him saying, I want to be a Hall of Famer. His first day.
Yeah.
I remember him sitting on the little concrete block outside the field house at Lehigh. He's like, I don't want to talk about the Pro Bowl. I want to be a Hall of Famer. And, he came up a little short, but he had a heck of a career.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
shoot for the stars.
Trey Thomas' career is darn good career.
Yeah.
We'll see. It was nice talking to Jalen Carter. He wasn't at the podium today. He was
more relaxed,
let his personality out.
Also, he was not scheduled to talk.
Mm-hmm.
He just stopped and started talking. And which shows that he's comfortable. Yeah,
he's it was good to see a little personality from him. He was asked about, I don't know if you've Brandon Graham has been Instagram living the rookie performances.
Yeah.
In the rookie talent show. Yeah. Jalen Carter was not prepared, got booed off the stage. He said he's going to sing a new song tonight. He wouldn't tell us what it was.
Okay.
But that is it's not hazing. That's just a fun level of thing to bring along rookies. They seem to like it. The vets seem to like it. I think you should be able to have fun with rookies without being Northwestern.
Yeah. If you had to sing a song, what would you pick?
You know what's really funny? I did karaoke with some friends a few weeks ago, and I was trying to find the right song because it's like you want to know the words. Like you can read the words.
They give you
but you want to know the flow.
So
of
you
the
can
song.
kind of freelance and just
you know what song I absolutely killed.
Killed in a good way or bad
in a good way?
Okay.
I guess I could go either way.
Yeah.
Brian Wilson by Bare Naked Ladies.
Oh, okay.
So fun karaoke song to sing.
Interesting.
It has like big moments.
Is that like the line in bed, like
mm-hmm.
Brian Wilson dead or something?
Yeah. What would you sing?
I've seen Brian Wilson. He's incredible. He comes out and he says, people tell me that God Only Knows is the best song ever written. I guess it might be. And then he played it. Everyone was crying.
I guess it might be.
It was incredible. I did karaoke once in my life. And
mm-hmm.
I did that song, Once There Was a Girl Who Wouldn't Change in the Change Room. That song was it. I forget who did that. I don't know.
I don't think I do.
Yeah, you know this. You'd recognize it. Once there was this girl who wouldn't go and change with the girls in the chain. You know that song.
I don't think I do.
I can't play because of BMI and ASCAP, but let me see who does it.
How are you even going to look that up?
Yeah, that's the name of the song. Crash Test Dummies. Yeah.
I don't know if I'll listen to it after this. I probably
You'll spend the whole drive home listening to it because you'll fall in love. It's a great song. They're actually a pretty good band. Had some good records, but yeah.
Would you do that again? You still haven't answered my question.
That would be my song.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do we?
I don't know.
Sean Desai.
Yeah.
Talk to him a little bit today. Any takeaways?
It was funny because I was just about to ask him about it, and he brought it up himself about how much they're throwing at the rookies and to see what they can process, and which I like. And some coaches would, and Jim Johnson was the same way. He would throw everything at young guys, see what they can process, see how much they can handle, and then back off if they're overdoing it.
Sure.
And it seems like Sean's doing the same. And he said some of the players said it's not that much. But he seems to think they are throwing a lot at him, which just means the whole playbook or a bigger part of the playbook, different positions, different places, just giving him more than just bringing him along in baby steps.
Sure.
And
you ever watched the show Bar Rescue?
Bar Rescue?
Yeah.
I've been rescued from some bars, but I've never seen it.
It's a good show. John Taffer, legend, goes into these like failing bars and gets them right.
Okay.
And they have what they call a stress test. And it's like they've barely even trained them, and they pack the bar, and they basically like flood them with people and requests and orders, and they see where the weakest spots are, and they almost always fail. That's kind of like he's putting them through a stress test, like throwing everything at them and see where the deficiencies are.
Interesting. So you're saying Sean Desai should run a bar?
He could, I'm sure.
Probably could. But I like that. I think it seems like a smart group of rookies, and I like the idea of let's see what they can handle, and if it's too much, then it's okay to back off. Sometimes that's the case. You don't want to overwhelm guys, but throw it all at them and see what they can handle. That was the one thing that stuck out to me.
Yeah, complimentary of Nakobe Dean, but he was asked about him. But obviously Nakobe's an important part of this defense, so especially for Desai, like to have your Mike, like that's an important role for a first-year defensive coordinator. Yeah, I don't have much else.
There wasn't much else from Sean. There's really not a lot to ask these guys right now.
It's so early.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're trying not to answer too many specifics because it's been 2 days of practice.
And they keep getting these questions, how does this guy look? How does that guy look? They're not going to answer it. Like, what can you say? I mean, like with a guy like Jordan Davis, then you can talk about his fitness. Mm-hmm. But, how does Keely Ringo look? I mean, we're not worried about his fitness. So there's not much to say. He's smart. He's handling it well. But in about 2 weeks, we'll get some good answers.
Yeah. Eagles have a walkthrough tomorrow?
By the way, you mentioned they had a walkthrough yesterday. Kelsey told me in the parking lot they were actually off yesterday.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, they're supposed to be off Saturday. Maybe they'll be off. Maybe they will have a walkthrough then Saturday.
Yeah. Either way, we won't be there.
Yep. Sunday, next practice, 9:40 a.m. Nick Sirianni, 10 o'clock practice begins. We'll have a Sunday pod following that.
And we think they might pad up. We don't know.
That'd be great.
But I would think, because if they don't practice Monday. So Tuesday, you're already a third of the way into camp. So I'm guessing Sunday. Hope so.
That'd be great.
Plus, it's cool.
It's always such a welcome sight when you see the pads on, when the guys start walking out. Yeah. Anything else here?
No. It was a good day.
Yeah, it was a good day. Yeah. All right. If you enjoyed the Eagle Eye podcast, please rate and subscribe wherever you get your pods. If you're watching on YouTube, click the like button, subscribe there as well. We'll be back with you on Sunday after day 3 of practice. For Reuben, I'm Dave. This has been Eagle Eye. We'll talk to you soon.